Welcome back, Anthony. Nice to see you again.
It's good to see you, Jason. What's up?
I think today we're diving back into peak discussions. I know
Yeah,
we kind of teased the idea of hooking up the post to Slack button from the mobile journal, and I think today's a pretty good day to get into that, don't you think?
there you go. Nice.
All
Yeah,
right.
so I came in here quickly just to get a lay of the land, and what I found so far is I've done just about nothing for the press the Slack button, aside for set up the connection between Retool and Slack. There's great docs on how to do that, so I'm gonna skip over that for this video.
Got it. Yeah, we can link those docs to anyone who's interested in the show notes.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And so where we last left off, we had an entry, um, and then there's this button here. Well, let me back up. So why are we doing this? Um, we have an accountability group.
Yep.
It's got 5 or 6 people in it, 5 people in it, and every week we record how the week went and whatever metrics we're tracking, and we want to share that with our accountability group so they can see what's going on and offer advice if there's anything in the notes like, hey, I'm having some trouble with X, Y, or Z, or I want to celebrate this win, whatever it happens to be. And what we were doing in the past was writing this down in a Google spreadsheet. We're taking screen caps of the spreadsheet and then we were pasting them into Slack. And so the idea was, hey, if we make it easy to share, then we can skip 2 or 3 steps.
Yep.
So I added that share to Slack button in the web version of this tool, and now I just want to add that capability to the mobile version.
Makes a
So I
lot of
think that's
sense.
up for context. Yeah. How do you want to begin? Want me to just kick it off, or do you have a plan of attack?
Yeah, so I think what we want to kind of make clear here is how simple Retool can make this whole process, uh, with it being low code. I know we're going to have to write some code because it's not plug and play, but so highlight how simple this is, um, and yeah, kind of walk through the process step by step.
Got it. One thing that is going to be we have to think through here is the proof that it is in Slack. I don't have an easy way to make that visible on screen, so we'll have to figure out how we want to handle showing that it actually does the thing we said it's going to do. But for now, let's just get started. So
Okay.
to get you reacquainted with the mobile journal, you've got your list view. Here's every journal entry. This is my staging environment. So there's going to be, it's free to tinker without messing up any of the real production users. Um, List view. Then if you click on any list item, you get the details view. I have been working on a bug that you can't rename metrics. And so what you're seeing here is an artifact from that. So I'm just going to explain it once and then never talk about it again. Um, the next thing is from here, you have your edit view to edit the metrics entries that you've already written. The post to Slack button, well, FAB, just in case you don't know, floating action button. Uh, we're going to end up wiring that up on the details view because that just seems like the most logical place
Mm-hmm.
to put this thing. When you click on any item in Retool, the inspector opens up and you can attach like whatever icons you want to it. I just picked a megaphone. You can have text if you want, whether or not the button can be pressed or is in a loading state. Like all that stuff is handled by Retool, so I don't have to think about it.
Yep.
But the piece that we actually need to do is attach an event handler so that when it's clicked, something happens.
Yep. So to
So
just to jump in quick, to kind of break down what we expect to happen. So we click the button. It's going to take the data from your journal entry. I don't know if we have to do any transformations to put it into, I assume, a JSON format that we post to Slack.
It's worse than that.
Excellent.
It's Slack's version of markup.
Gotcha. Okay. So we click the button. We'll take the data from the journal entry. We convert it to the format expected by Slack.
Yep.
Post that to the Slack webhook or the API. I don't remember how they do it off the top of my head.
Yep.
But post it to the endpoint where Slack accepts it, and then it should show up in Slack.
That's right.
Okay.
And then we can talk about some V2 features, because I know there's going to be a shortcoming for what we're about to do. So stay tuned to the end, and I can kind of talk through that. So the only thing I want to share over here, we have here, is I made a JavaScript query, which is just a script that's going to get run. And then eventually you can attach it to many different event triggers. So I'm going to attach this to the floating action button click handler. There's not a lot here. You can see I just clear local storage. I'm not even sure why I did that. That was left over from when I just loaded it. So I might either find out, oh, that there was a good reason for that, or I will need to take it out.
Right.
Let me think through this. So, the first thing we want to do is actually, let me show you the end. We're going to make the bridges meet in the middle. The end is I've got a pre-existing resource from the web app.
Yep.
So post to Slack. And it has all these pre-configured endpoints. So we're going to post a message. And then you need to come up with the channel ID, the text, or the blocks. And this needs to be in Slack, Markdown, or whatever their blocks layout is. There's some quirks there. You got to read the docs on how Slack wants you to do things and what you think it should look like based on your familiarity with Markdown. But so,
does Slack give you any type of tool where you can put a block in and it will render it the way it would show up in Slack?
Actually, yeah. I haven't prepped this, so I have no idea where it's going to land me. Sample code tester. They have a thing called like a block kit or something like that, and a block kit. And reference designing with block kit. They basically let you in one section write the it's a JSON blob, and on the other section they show you what it will look like rendered. And it's kind of cool because they have like this drag and drop interface. I don't feel like browsing through the docs, but it is in here.
Yeah, we can link that in the notes. It's just good to know that that it exists.
You don't have to guess. And another thing that we have going for us is, let me think of how I want to do this. In the desktop version, I've already learned how to populate this form data. So I'm going to just quickly go over there and borrow from. I didn't mean
code reuse, man.
Yeah,
it's a good thing.
Let me see if I can get to the. Let's see. Checking. I hope this stays on my staging environment. There we go. That's wonderful. Oh, geez. Where's post to Slack? Post to Slack. Here we go. So I'm going to just take all of this. We still don't have a good story for
switching between
switching. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me think. How can
Does
I
multiple
do that?
tabs work?
It will, but they make me remember to click the switch to this tab when sharing view, and I sometimes forget. So if I forget, just
Okay,
keep me honest here.
Well, it might be fine if you just stay on the mobile journal and you don't have to share this one as you're copy pasting.
Yeah, there you go. So let me get back on the mobile journal. Almost there. Okay. You can see the mobile journal again?
Yes.
Wonderful. So we're going to go back to that query I start making. So I try to you can organize the inspector or the code blocks any way you like. I have them broken into actions, which are things that happen when events are fired. And then I have queries, which interact with different API endpoints. And the reason I make that distinction is because sometimes an event handler might need to do 2 or 3 or 4 different things. And this gives you a good way to organize that. I also have transformers set up to mutate data, and then variables are just my state definitions. So this is very flexible. You do it the way you want. This has worked pretty well for me. Goes to Slack. Didn't work at all. Because I need to hit the FX button. That's why. So FX is a function, and Retool always tries to make it easy for you. So they'll provide like native UI elements that guess things for you. Hey, that's interesting. These are not the staging journal entries.
Very
Look
interesting.
at that. The staging environment is disabled because the resource hasn't been configured for staging.
It was before, though. When we first started, it was on the staging.
That's another thing that's driving me crazy is I'm command clicking to open up the resources in a new tab, and it's not doing that. But we go to the MVP, post to Slack settings. Let's see how many secrets I'm about to leak. Staging is right there. So I'm not sure why it's telling me that it's not configured. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Disabled.
Google Drive v3 REST API.
It was when we were trying to hook up the Google Drive. But I don't know why.
I'm not sure which query has Google Drive as a resource. Oh,
Query
this
14.
one, the one I'm working on. Yeah.
Yeah, just
Save. So let's start there. Now, go there. That's better. Post. And I think Command S works. Yeah, so you can use hotkeys if you were if you're like me and don't want to click too many times. Okay. So this is where it gets interesting because I know the text. So look, check this out. From the web version, it says Slack message formatter.
Right. Is
I'm
that
gonna have
a
to pull.
transformer?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we'll figure that out in a second. And then the blocks I have empty.
This is a retool question for you. Can you have transformers that are shared between apps?
Uh, Sort of, but not really. Um, the way you would do that is in the global app space, you can define functions which are imported into every app. It's different than a transformer because transformers do not allow you to pass parameters. It assumes you're going to pull directly from a component.
Gotcha.
Um, there's another sort of, so we had a bug in the last time we did this video where the base 64 encoding of something wasn't working, and that was actually installed in the global app space, and I'm not sure why the mobile version wasn't able to use it. So I haven't really looked to see what the root cause of that was. So to answer your question, the way I would say is on the desktop version, if you define global system functions, that is the best way of sharing a transformer.
Gotcha.
And then the last thing is Markdown. We'll start with that. Hit save. So now we've got this Slack. We're going to call it post to Slack. There's the rename. I guess I can do it here. Post to Slack. Something that's super cool about Retool. I don't know how they do it, but I love it. If you rename things, it propagates to all the different linked components.
Oh, nice.
So you do not have to hunt or feel guilty like renaming any of these queries, any of the IDs for the components, like auto renaming just has worked very well for me. So
that's really
I'm
nice.
a big fan of that. All right, so next we need the Slack message formatter. So I'm going to go over to the web version and just steal that. And we're going to go paste it into here. A transformer. So transformers just return a value, and then the values can be complex or they can be, just a simple primitive component. We're going to have to do some figuring out here, like selected row makes sense in the desktop version, but I'm not sure how I did it in the web version. So we'll have to tweak this a little bit, but you can see what it's doing is another useful retool thing is they've pre-installed Lodash for you. So if you want to do any sort of data manipulation,
very useful.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the chain function. All right, so we've got our transformer, which I've already forgotten the name of it. Hit save. Don't want to do all that again. So if we go to post to Slack, it was called the Slack
message formatter, right? Yeah.
Name. Then so check this out, right? Post to Slack. This will actually show you the return value from that function. It doesn't work right now because you saw that I haven't finished like writing a valid transformer here. But if you mouse over things, it'll tell you as much as it can determine about that property, right? So I can see the params are here. you which is useful for debugging.
Yeah.
So we've got our button. Oh, let's get into here. We've got our button. When we click the button, it calls the event handler. The event handler is here. And then what we can say, we're clearing local storage. I'm not sure if that's the right thing to do. So we should look at local storage and see what's in there. I don't know if this will actually show me local storage or not. It might. Check that out. So local storage under a property called page looked up. No. T. I'm trying to figure out if this gets mutated when I click through here. Looks like no. Somehow, get journal entry for date is how it's rendering. Like these components here are pulling from get journal entry for date.
Yep.
So we're just going to use that. I think we can leave this here for now until I figure out why it's there. But what we can do is we can say, going back to our queries, it was called post to Slack. So we can say post to Slack trigger. And this is a async function. We can await it.
Oh, nice.
And then we can do something like details dot. How do we let the user know it was successful? Well,
confetti.
We need some confetti.
Need that confetti.
So we're almost there. We're getting pretty close. The only thing that's not correct yet is the transformer needs
the right
this post data,
yep.
which we now know is available in get journal entry for date dot data.
Yep.
So instead of saying selected row dot value, I think we can say get. And I got Grammarly getting in my way, but
get journal entry for date dot
data. Now check this out. This is what I was saying before about how Retool will let you preview the answer, and I'm not even running anything. And so you can mouse over the different parts here. You can see the properties as you go, right? It's super powerful.
Super cool.
Grammarly doesn't like that I don't have a space after my period, but fine.
Grammarly.
So let's hit save. And now let's think. So staging. Okay, right. I have Retool set up so when you use the post to Slack resource in a staging environment, it is going to write to a development space in Slack.
Okay.
So I'm just going to hit this button and see what happens.
We can see a post come up. It's got the date. It's got some notes. So we are posting to Slack.
Right. We're missing the metrics.
We're missing some metrics.
Which are here. The notes are correct. And then the thoughts to keep should never show up in Slack. So there's no surprise that that's missing. And I'm guessing, so we can look right.
We didn't actually finish, did we? If we go back to the post to Slack query, Do we need blocks, or is that what the
Uh,
text formatting does?
these are mutually exclusive.
Mutually exclusive. Gotcha. Okay.
So if we go here to the Slack message formatter and hit preview, it'll say there's no notes. I'm sorry,
There's no
there's no metric.
metrics.
So probably, if I had to guess, something funky is going on here because I'm saying filter out your active metrics, and then for each of those metrics, bolt them onto the message.
Yep.
So I have reason to believe that this is our problem child.
I buy that.
So get user metric configs.data is the metrics that the active logged in user has configured for themselves. Right. So in here, I have these three metrics.
Yep.
Then I filter so that, oh, right. And you can either put them on or off, right? It's a Boolean. So the active flag is saying, I only care about the metrics that you have configured that are also turned on. And then for each of those, I want the metric header dot value. So active
Metric
metrics
headers.
should look like that. So check this out. Console.log totally works. And you can, if you pull up this tiny little debugger down here.
Ah, we will see that there's actually errors.
We're throwing errors. Yep, unexpected metric. So my validation logic is breaking because if you remember in the last one, I told you that I had to hand write the text edit parser because there was no JSON form config.
Right.
And that validate metrics is now not going to work.
Can you get rid of those UID metrics?
I think the easiest way to do that would actually be to delete. Let's see. I don't know. I was going to say delete the entry altogether, but I might just be able to take them out of the UI and save. Okay. Here. Edit. Maybe I didn't do any metrics there. That seems suspicious also. All right, but let's see if this will work now. So we still have no notes.
No metrics.
Correct, sorry. Post to Slack ran successfully. But then you can see the call chain and everything.
Yep.
If we go back to here, this the right thing? Not metrics or text, no.
No.
We don't need any signed URLs. Entry, click, we want that one. We don't need that one. Must have a ton of tabs open, huh?
Yeah.
That's the page. Okay.
It's the message formatter. I'm assuming that those empty objects are your console log of active metrics.
Oh, good call.
So they're getting filtered out somewhere.
Do that. Then we should see, yes, they're getting filtered. So I've got a bug right in this guy somewhere. If we look here,
we have metric headers.
I'm surprised we don't have active active as a property in this query. Like, how could it then filter them based on active if they're not?
Oh yeah, maybe that's
in here. And so if I were to go to get user configs, where would that be? Get metric user configs.
get user metric. It's the fourth query.
Thank you. And let's put some active in there. Okay. And then we're going to go back to the transformer. We're going to preview it. Hey, look, we got metrics. Sort of. Their values are empty. And we, okay, I'm going to get rid of or comment out this because I'm not sure if that is why every time I post, everything clears out. Click it.
We got some question marks here. I'll show those.
So we're getting closer.
We got some question marks.
And then the last thing is, why are they empty? Back to here. Oh, another really cool thing is that this console knows about all of this UI elements. So if I wanted to do like this, I can see.
Oh, very cool. Yeah.
So we are missing whatever's happening here isn't working.
Yep.
So what I can do is I can actually see if this will work. This might be null because I don't think I'm in scope. But I'll put entry here. Now I'm in scope. Okay. Metrics is an object.
Yep.
So entry.metrics should be fine.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that 0. I think the 0 is what's making it not work. Because this is the retool, when you do a query to a database, gives you an interesting data structure back. Looks like that, where every column is a key in a dictionary, and then there's an array of values, and they are ordered in the same order as the record set.
Yep.
So what we have here is a metrics array of size 1, right? The 0 index contains our keys, and nowhere here have I handled that.
Active metrics.
So you can do, there's this cool function, format data as object, which will, what am I missing? Is it? I think I'm backwards. I think it's array. Yes, it is array. So what it does is it takes the dictionary of keys where the values are arrays and instead returns you a array of objects.
Mm-hmm.
Right there, array of objects. So now, what happened? Get journal entry for date should only ever be 1. So I could. Now you can already tell it worked because my new preview of the response has the metrics in there. So I hit save, and then I think, now if I click.
Look at that.
Nice. And the clear local storage thing is gone now. So now it doesn't wipe out the page. There's like one more thing. There's actually two things left that I think we should talk about. The first one is the confetti doesn't work. I don't know why. We can figure that one out. The second one is in the web version, I can make you confirm that you actually want to do this thing. So that's a really, really easy thing to do with Retool. Post to Slack is the thing that actually does the push to the Slack API.
Mm-hmm.
If we go to advanced, we can say show a confirmation modal. Like,
oh, nice.
Are you sure you want to post your journal entry to Slack? Right, and then if I click this, apparently it doesn't do markdown.
It doesn't do markdown.
Yeah, but you get the point, right?
Yep.
And then if you go OK, it did the right. So we'll get rid of this.
That's really cool how easy that is.
Yeah, like I didn't have to write any code. I love it.
That's really cool.
And then another, so I'm not entirely sure why the confetti doesn't work here, but what we can do instead is go to post to Slack, go back to advanced. I think there is a success handler. Unless, is it in general?
Yep,
success
handlers.
Right. Run a script.
Confetti.
So now, and actually that's the right place to put it, because what if you were to hit cancel, right? My await would have resolved, but then I would have posted confetti. So now we put it in the right place, post to Slack. Oh, maybe mobile has no confetti.
Oh, maybe.
That's tragic.
That's really poor. Unusable.
I'm not sure what sort of alert pop-ups they have, but in either case, I think this is probably a good stopping point. I don't know how long that took, but felt pretty quick.
Yeah. I mean, about half an hour, maybe, give or take. That's pretty quick. And there's definitely some tweaking that you could do. I imagine you can add failure handlers so that we can tell you when something went wrong. Is there anything you can do around debouncing? So if you just mash that button, it doesn't post to Slack 100 times.
Yep.
Not to say we have to do this now, just sort of the things that you can build on to make this more user friendly.
So I have one last thing to talk about, which is we had mentioned there's like a stay tuned to the end for the quirk, right? Something that has happened in practice a bunch of times on the PQ mobile, desktop journal. I will write my journal entry, and then I will hit post to Slack, and then I'll read it, and I'll have missed something, or I'll have some typos in there, and I want to be able to correct that. So I correct it in my journal. But the way that the handler works today is it's a one directional push. And so I would have to, in the current setup, just post again with all the corrections. What I would much rather do is edit the Slack post.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the old version of Retool, they didn't return for like the post to TFS. Sorry, I'm getting into the weeds. The old version didn't tell you the ID of the thing that just got created, but the new Slack integration does.
Right.
So if you actually run this thing, you can see, we'll redact some of this, but you can see there's like a timestamp and a channel. And those two things can be used to edit existing messages. So what I would do is I would capture this data and write it next to this journal entry so that the next time you decide to push to Slack, I'll fetch it from the entry, and then instead of doing an update or an insert, I do an update basically. Yep. So all cool, nice to have features, but I think we can call this a win.
Yeah, that was very simple, really well explained walkthrough, and yeah, cool feature. All right. Any other parting thoughts before we wrap up for the afternoon?
No, it's always fun writing code with you. I just had a good time. This is nice and easy.
Good stuff. All right. Well, thank you for taking the time as always. It's much appreciated. And I hope the folks out there enjoy the content. If you do, remember to like and subscribe, and I'm sure, be coming back with some more of this type of content as we continue to develop out PQ for usage.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right.
Thanks, Jason.
Thanks, Anthony.